over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Friday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you, especially to the gentlemen that are on Freaky Friday. You guys were amazing. Great to listen to you, as always. Thank you for throwing it over to me so well. I think I'm trying to catch it here. I'm in the end zone, and you gave me a Hail Mary. So sorry for the sound of my voice, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting absolutely hammered by a cold, and I'm feeling it. Holy God, there's something going around. But, you know, what do you do? The show must go on, right? So here we are. And to those of you on YouTube, if you didn't see the intro video, it's because, it's because I accidentally moved it and the link no longer works. So I'll have to redo that. But welcome, everybody, to the show. Tonight's show is going to be hopefully a wonderful show. It's going to be listener emails and call-ins and just a bunch of paranormal odds and ends, but I'm really counting on you guys tonight to call in because my voice is really shot. Thank God I got an interview tomorrow, and ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, Mr. Kevin Lang of Glagland will be joining us, and he's a gentleman who befriended a Sasquatch at a young age, and he's going to share with us his journey basically growing up with this juvenile Sasquatch. I can tell you it's a compelling, amazing story. He's appeared on the World Bigfoot Radio several times, and Duke has done a marvelous job going over his stories with him, really in depth, really amazing. And he also has the Glagland channel, Kevin Lang's Glagland, on YouTube. So if you want to get a little insight into who's going to be on the show tomorrow, definitely check it out, either World Bigfoot Radio or the Kevin Lang's Glagland channel, and you can see what's going on. But he's got activity around him all the time. It's pretty intense. So, but that'll be tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, or watch it streaming on our YouTube channel. And if you're hearing the sound of my voice and you're not seeing me, then and you'd like to see what's going on here behind the scenes, you can go over to youtube.com/paranormalportal and check out the show as it's being broadcast live. So, but tonight, listener emails and stuff. So I want to thank everyone who sent in some of their stories and some of their experiences, because this is truly one of my favorite parts of the show. And when I was dreaming of the Paranormal Portal before there was a Paranormal Portal, in my mind it was going to be a very listener-driven show, and you know, it's kind of one of those things that's reflective of the audience pool. So I had this idea I was going to have a paranormal show, and boom, everybody's going to call in. But it never really occurred to me that you have to you have to build your audience. You have to build, the listener base so that people can call in and share. So, but a lot of you are really sending me amazing stories, and I'm really looking forward to reading those tonight. Excuse me. Oh, it's going to be rough. But let me see. The phone lines are open. If you'd like to call in and share an encounter of your own, please feel free. The phone number for the show is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. And if you're calling from UK or in that neighborhood, it's 44203-3998. 393 2871. Again, 44203 393 2871. So I'll be watching as closely as I can, but I want to get to the listener emails first. Well, not first. There's one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but some new information, well, new to me anyway, dropped today regarding the paranormal and ufology and such. And that was apparently the CIA apparently released 13 million pages of declassified documents online. I guess this is from January 2017. And you know what? I did know of that. I thought this was newer. I just saw it today on Facebook. But I want to show you guys this page, and it's really pretty cool. It's their whole CREST system, which is like an indexing program that used to only be available at the Library of Congress, where you could have to go and on 2 terminals. You could go look up information that they had filtered down, but under a lot of pressure from a lot of Freedom of Information Acts and stuff, they finally had published it online. So if you're not familiar with this, I'm putting it on the screen for our YouTube audience, but I will tell you that it's Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA.gov/library/reading room/collection/CREST 25-year program archive. And so I hope that makes sense. But if you look for the CREST, CREST archive on Google or any search engines, I'm sure you'll get pointed to it anyway. But let me put this up for our YouTube audience, and you guys can see this whole collection. And there's so much to look through, so much to search, and it's just really pretty amazing. Now, a lot of this stuff, it would be. It's not like a novel. It doesn't read like a novel or anything, but it is information. It is demonstrating a lot of the programs that were going on behind the scenes, and including apparently you can get some recipes for invisible ink and stuff, but I don't know how old that is. But it's not from the back of a comic book like you might have seen growing up. But anyway, I thought that was really cool and interesting. And again, that's CIA.gov/library/reading room/collection/CREST-25-year-program-archive. And I thought that was much more current, but that's what you get when I've got a horrible cold and my head is full of fog. So apparently it's old news, but it was new to me. Which doesn't mean too much. So let's get to our emails, if you guys don't mind. I want to read some of these. Well, I'm going to read all of them, but let me get that up. I do apologize. Man, I feel terrible. All right, let's see. Where's my tabs? It's all shrinked. Oh my God, Google, if you guys have to keep redesigning crap. All right, let's do it. Okay, so I've got several here. And the first one is coming from Danny, a listener named Danny. And I guess Danny Lucas. He's okay with me using his identity. But what he said is, I had an experience with a UFO ship or craft. It was like a triangle-shaped ship with 3 bluish lights on each of the corners and an orange light in the center. Me, my sister, and brother-in-law all saw it. I went to try to take a picture and video of it, but my camera was not functioning while it was in the air and for about 10 minutes after it left. I heard it might be a craft named a TR-3B, and I also saw a beam of light shine down from the craft that looked like it was about a mile or 2 from where we saw it. Yeah, the triangular craft are widely believed in UFO circles to be the more advanced projects or black projects, kind of things of reverse engineering alien craft. I don't know where they've come to that assumption or not. I don't know how they've arrived at that conclusion. Certainly not a UFO investigator, but it is generally regarded as that. Although I would say that the triangular craft that appeared in the Phoenix Light incidents was probably not, as that was several miles across. It was a very, very large triangular craft, and it flew over the whole Phoenix Valley, and many, many, many thousands of people saw it. And most of the documentation that you see is when it's way off in the horizon. But now the interesting thing, Danny, from your message is that your cameras and phone wouldn't work. And to me, that would suggest some kind of electromagnetic sort of either levitation or propulsion or both. That it must be emitting a huge electromagnetic field or disrupting electromagnetic fields for quite a distance around the craft itself. Now, I don't know how far away you were from the narrative of your story, but if it was close enough to screw up your phone, then that's a pretty amazing event. I don't know. That's an incredible experience, and thank you so much for sending that in and sharing it with us. So the next one, let me see. All right. I'm sorry, I got to look and make sure. Oh, no. I got to read the. Now this one actually has pictures too. Let's see what she says first of all. While working at Sears as a technician, I had a deer jump in front of my work van, which made it impossible for me to work anymore, and which made me become homeless. And the first sister I stayed with had an out-of-town party to go to and asked if I could stay somewhere else for the weekend. I was like, sure, not to intrude on anyone on short notice. I chose to stay in the gravel pit. And I had gone here on different occasions and rode dirt bike or target practiced. And we spent the afternoon target practicing with my 1022, and it was just me and my little dog Turk. That night it was raining and cloudy, so no moon, and it was dark, so you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. I was just sitting there watching a movie on my laptop, and my dog was in the back seat just jumping around like he does when he jumps in the passenger seat and curls up into a ball with his head tucked in. I noticed, but I thought, well, hey, don't look at him. He's being good. And about 3 minutes later, there was a hard shove down on the back of my car. Hard enough that my head seemed to bounce off the back of my headrest. I started looking around, of course, and it's pitch black outside, so I flip on my lights and I see nothing. But whatever. It was pushed down on the back of my car, so I step on my brakes to engage my taillights. In the raindrops and water, I really couldn't see anything. And then I thought of my gun, so as soon as I had that thought, the most incredible fear came over me, to the point of paralyzing me. With every ounce of my being, I reached behind my seat and unbuckled my gun case, reached inside and made sure my clip was in the gun. I did not pull it out at this time. The fear still had a grip on me, and I turned to Turk, and I'm like really no reaction to what just happened. And then I realized he won't even pick up his head to acknowledge me. At this time, I noticed my pocket knife between the seats in case I need it in a hurry, and I turn and face forward and look toward my window, and I can just feel something staring a hole through me with the feeling of just make a move and I will kill you. It was so strong, this feeling was of doom, which doesn't sound strong enough to express this feeling. So in my head, I think, I don't want to hurt you, but I will protect myself any way I can. So I hope you do not want to hurt me either. Then I look at my dog, who is still curled up in a ball, and I pull my covers up, close my eyes, and just like that, the fear was gone. I stay that way as long as possible, and can cause now because I have to pee. And I waited as long as I could, and I get my gun out, and me and my dog get out and go to pee. My dog did jump up and go out with me, but the first time in his life, he went fast and was at the door waiting for me to get back in. Nothing else happened that night. I did stay another night there, and nothing happened, but that next week I had to replace both rear shocks of my car because they were both blown. Wow. That is really incredible. So I guess the pictures are of the dog, and it looks like a little, like a small version of a lab. I'm not sure of the breed, but I think, I think I had this very car. I'll drag this over so you guys can see. This is the pictures of the pup, and then there's the dog again, and then there's the car. Now I think that's a Mercury Tracer, and the funny thing is I had this exact same car. I had that exact car. It looked just the same. That's just amazing. I thought it was a goofy car, but it was pretty reliable. It was a pretty good car, but certainly didn't help me get a lot of dates at that time. But I was actually married, so it was okay. Uh, but yeah, that's from listener R Blackhawk. And so, very cool. Thank you so much for sending that in and sharing it. What a phenomenal story. I would have to guess that you probably had a close encounter with something like a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. Is just I mean, what else is strong enough to push down on the back of your car and blow your shocks? I mean, that's just superhuman kind of strength. And it doesn't sound like a spirit or a ghostly kind of thing. It sounds like a real physical intimidation. So, wow. I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad nothing else happened. That's just weird. All right. So thank you so much for sending that in. I don't know. I got another one here. This is from Danny as well, and he sent in back in 2013, 2014, while I was attending college. My dad was really sick with cancer. In March of 2014, my dad passed away from the cancer that had been battling for just about 10 years. Wow, that's a long fight. He must have been a really strong man. After he had passed, his ghost had come and visited me while sitting in my room. I was looking down at my phone and I had seen an outline of a cowboy boot like what my dad used to wear when going out to dinner. I didn't see much more of the outline of the boots. After I had seen that, I felt a spirit walking through me. My legs were out in front of myself and it felt almost like a light tingling sensation. It was about the width of what my dad was. I was sitting up, and when it got up to my upper body, the same feeling throughout. Then I felt like someone was watching me for about 10 to 15 minutes afterwards. That's a really cool story too, Danny. Thank you so much for sending that in. And it occurs to me that I'm sure your dad was there. He's just coming to let you know he's okay. And it's a really common kind of occurrence that our loved ones do try to come and make themselves known. It's not everybody experiences that, and I really wish more people would, because I think that's an incredibly cathartic kind of thing, healing, and it brings a sense of peace, to what is otherwise just a horribly painful and tragic thing. After my dad passed last spring, I had a dream of him as well, and I've shared that many times on the show. But for me, it was incredibly healing because we both said things that we had never said in life. Now, maybe it was just a dream. Maybe it was. But it was so vivid, so real. And the thing was is that everything about my experience with him was him to a T. It's not vague or anything. It was just, it smelled like him. It felt like him. It looked like him. And it talked like him. And it was just such a compassionate and healing thing. And that's happened to me with other loved ones that have passed as well. Not everyone, but then again, I haven't lost a whole lot of people in my life yet. I mean, I imagine I will, or I'll be the one lost, one or the other, but we're all going to make that journey. But I know it's been a really incredible experience for me to feel that presence and to have those discussions. Very, very powerful. But thank you so much for sending that in and sharing it. Now, this one is coming from our dear longtime listener and friend of the show, Mrs. Gentry Coda. Let me see. I've got to make sure I'm at the first one because she sent me about 8 emails. Oh, hold on a sec. Oh my God, I'm so stuffy. It said, this happened while I was still in high school. My mom and stepdad were out of town, and I was home alone. And it was nighttime, and I was in my room sitting on my bed watching television, and my bedroom door was closed. All of a sudden, I heard a violent bang on my bedroom door. The best way I can describe it it seriously sounded like a body had been slammed against my door really hard. You could tell the whole door had shook. I sat there frozen, staring at the door. What's the yellow? What's going on? Oh, Tori, thank you so much. Oh, that is awesome. Just got a donation super chat from Tori. Thank you so much. That is amazing. I really appreciate it. And I don't know how I saw it. I just had a little bit of that chat showing, but awesome. I'm absolutely humbled. Thank you so much. So the door shook really hard. I sat there frozen, staring at my door, terrified. After staring at the door a few minutes, in horror, I finally said a small prayer because I was so freaked out. I think after about 5 minutes of being frozen, I slowly got out of bed, looked around, and found my letter opener, and slowly walked over to my door. I had to defend myself with something. Yeah, well, you can open some mail or open some guts. For for another 5 minutes, I just stared at the door handle and contemplating on opening the door or not. I was really freaked out. Finally, I opened the door, quickly found the switch to the hall light, and turned it on. And no one was there, of course. I started my search. I turned on all the lights in every room of the house as I searched them, and I even went clear down to the basement and I checked the storage room while I was down there too. I checked the garage door was closed, I checked the front door, the back door, and the door on the side of the house. All were locked and bolted shut. And no window in the the house was open or broken. And at one point, once I'd gotten into the kitchen, I upgraded my letter opener to a steak knife. Yes. It's like a video game. You start out with like a stick and you have to go for a while and then you'll find a sword or like a dagger and then a sword. That's Gentry's experience going through her house. So, and boy, did I have a tight grip on the handle as I finished searching the house. I did a thorough search of the house, checked under all the beds, checked the insides of each closet, checked under the couches, under the bathroom, or in the bath, it says under the under the bathroom and kitchen sinks, sorry, and any cabinet where a body would fit. Of course, I found nothing. I turned off all the lights, went back to my room, said another prayer to calm my nerves, and eventually fell asleep while keeping the light in my room on. I will never forget that sound. It still freaks me out to this day. And out of all the stuff that's happened to me, for the life of me, I still cannot debunk this one. I have no idea what that was. Maybe some kind of latent energy left by my stepdad? It was a bad relationship, and I didn't like him in my room. Oh, man, hold on. I gotta snort. Sorry, it's gross, but I don't know what else to do. But it was a bad relationship, and I didn't like him in my room, and that's the only thing I can come up with. I don't know. What do you think? Unfortunately, there's no follow-up to this one. It never happened again, and there were never any other incidents in the house after that. You know, it could be. It could very well be. I don't know why just a one-time event like that. If it was indeed him, and it's hard to say what for sure it is, but it's with the force that you're describing, it was more than just a normal house kind of settling thing. Could it have been something else? I suppose. For the life of me, I can't think of anything else that it could have been. I mean, it's not like, well, you said all the windows were locked. Everything was, I mean, and even then, if it was a gust of air, it'd be like a little rumble on the door. But you said it was like a body hit the door. So that seems to me to be a very deliberate act, and a very deliberate act at intimidation. Yeah, I guess, you know, that if your intuition is telling you that that's what it was and that's who it was, then I would stick with that. I think that that's probably the most likely explanation in terms of paranormal explanations. I don't know. I don't know what a skeptic would say to that, but you know, they probably say the house was settling or something. But I don't know if it was that forceful and that quick and caused the whole door, like, you know, a body slamming into it. That's pretty intentional and takes a lot of force. it's a strange one for sure. I'm glad it never happened again. I'm glad that that was the end of that kind of experience. But yeah, that's really freaky. Excuse me. And now a small follow up from Miss Gentry. And now a small follow up. I emailed my mom my story to see if she remembered me telling her about it once she got home. And she did remember me talking about it. And from her viewpoint, this is the only logical explanation she could come up with. I can't explain it either, and I could have been a weird earthquake kind of thing, where the energy from a shift in the mountain went directly to that point on the door. Still, it is unexplainable. Sometimes the mountain shift is not based on movement, just energy, kind of like another dimensional zone. The mountain she's referring to is the Wasatch Mountains, which we lived right next to in the valley. So there's another explanation. What are your thoughts? I think it's probably more likely that it was a ghost than it was just one shockwave of kinetic energy traveling through the ground, making no disturbance all the way to your door. That and it would go through the whole house structure and affect just a door, and only one door. I would think if it was some kind of geological effect, you would have felt it through the whole house, not just a door. So, to me, a spirit is much more plausible than that. But yeah. All right. So those are Gentry stories, and thank you so much for sharing those. That's really, really cool. Now I got another one from our Black Hawk here, and we're going to break. Jeez, wasn't watching the clock, and we got a lot of calls. So when we come back, we'll get to the calls, and we'll continue on our journey tonight. Don't go away, everybody. right, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are having a paranormal extravaganza kind of night. We just got through the listener emails, and thank you guys to those of you that sent those in. Those were wonderful, and I really appreciate it. It's just really cool to hear what you guys have seen, what you guys have experienced. We've got several calls on the board here, so I'm going to go right away to the calls and see what's going on out there. Right up first is Haxer. You're on the air, brother. What's going on?
Hey, Brent here to save your voice.
Take it away. You got the floor.
All right. So I just got a little story from a Past from the Blast that should actually eliminate some people and scare some people if you wish.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the Chronovisor.
I have. I don't remember where, though.
Okay. So the Chronovisor is basically a device that was able to let you observe the future as well as past events. And some people believe this was the greatest guarded secrets humanity has ever had.
Okay.
So this tool was basically built in the 1950s by a couple people, a Father Ernetti, who built this device, and this alleged device, which by many is nothing more than science fiction, was built by Ernetti, a physicist who became a priest, and he also had help from the Nobel laureate Enrico Fermi and the famous rocket scientist Wernher von Braun.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
So this chronovisor is basically a small object that is equipped with a number of antennas and is comprised basically of precious alloys, cathode tubes, some dials, and levers. Well, reports from Father Ernetti suggest that whoever uses the device is able to capture and record specific locations, important events, and follow in history and noteworthy events.
Cool.
So he did this and decided he was going to go back to the crucifixion of Christ.
Ooh.
And he got a photograph of the dying Christ. Now, you're saying, wait a minute, how does this work? It apparently works by processing residual electromagnetic radiation left over by numerous processes. And so, basically, Ernetti used the chronovisor to witness the crucifixion of Christ.
Wow.
However, Ernetti revealed that his invention had managed to witness the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and other famous historical events as the founding of Rome in 753 BC. Also, thanks to the chronovisor, Ernetti was able to compose the missing works of Theistus, written by Eno Quinto, and represented in Rome in 169 AC. It's in its original version.
Wow.
And the original text of the two stone tablets written by God, Exodus 24:12, which were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Well, he also tuned in and watched Cicero. He watched Napoleon. He watched a few other things. And then, basically, a French priest, Francois Charles Antoine Brun, was the first to hear about this. So according to Father Francois, as he met Ernetti in the 60s when the two were traveling across the Grand Canal of Venice, as the two were experts in ancient languages, they began to talk about the Bible and its interpretations through the years. Father Brun was very intrigued when Father Ernetti revealed that there was a machine that could answer all the questions related to the Bible. So when Father Francois asked about the machine, Ernetti described the chronovisor, saying it was a device that functioned like a TV, but instead of receiving transmissions from the stations, the chronovisor was able to tune and pass and allow the viewer to see and hear events that occurred before. He said that the machine worked by detecting images and sounds that humanity had created, which were floating in space.
Wow.
Well, but there is an account that, quite frankly, the Vatican decided, no, this was very dangerous, and they didn't like it, and they decided to dismantle the device because if it were to fall into the wrong hands, they, quote, could create the scariest dictatorship the world has ever seen.
Wow.
Well, back in the 70s, he posted a picture of Christ taken from the Chronovisor.
Okay.
However, the mass media scoffed it and discounted it, but simply said that Father Ernetti died in April 1994, and he wrote a letter in which he insisted the device was real and not a hoax as many claimed.
That's deep.
But, yes. And, well, as all of you are probably saying, oh, come on, Haxer, you're just full of it. And this Chronovisor is so not interesting. Well, guess what? In 1988, the Vatican issued a decree which it warned that anyone using an instrument of such characteristics would be excommunicated.
Wow. So they must have a genuine fear of it.
According to many, this was an unnecessary warning since, according to them, the Chronovisor never existed. So why issue a warning if it was just another hoax?
Right.
Yes. But in 1994, Father Ernetti also said that Pope Pius XII forbade us to disclose any details about the device because this machine was very dangerous and it can restrain the freedom of man.
The truth could restrain the freedom of man. Wow.
Yes. So the Chronovisor, is it just another top secret object hidden away from society? I don't know, but I just hope that this spooky story of a time portal machine that is based in history, and a recent history no less, and if it was so phony, why would the Vatican excommunicate you from the church instantly if you did anything close to it?
Yeah, exactly. If it was just the flight of fancy, then why would they bother with the decree? Yep.
Exactly. So, anyway, that's what I thought I could do, is save about 15 minutes of your voice, sir, and illuminate the crowd with just a little bit more than a cocktail recipe, but a story of the Chronovisor.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. That's a really cool story, and I'm curious to look into that myself now. I want to know if there's more to it. I appreciate it.
Exactly. Well, anyway, I'm sure there's more callers, and feel better, Brent, please. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thanks a bunch.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, and that brings us to our next call, which is from area code 480. You're on the air.
Hey, Brent. It's Tonya. Taz.
Hey, Taz. How you doing?
I'm good. Sounds like you have what I have. Mine's been hanging around for a couple weeks.
Oh, really? That's not encouraging. I'm on day number 2, and this is terrible.
Yeah, hopefully you can get over it sooner than I, because I've tried it all.
Oh, no. Seems like a lot of people are getting whatever this is. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the chemtrails.
Maybe, because they were doing that a lot over here, even though some people think I'm nuts. But I was watching those skies. I'm like, no, they did a lot, and we've been getting a lot of rain now.
You know,
so,
I have to
and I'm in Arizona.
I have to tell you a story. When it was last summer, and I shared it on the show, I think, back then, but I I was outside in the backyard, and I was looking up at the sky, and, a jet plane was coming over way up high and stuff, and I was seeing the trail behind it, and I was like, instantly, I was like, oh, those jerks, oh, those bastards, and I'm thinking, I'm just spouting anger. and then it passes by, and all of a sudden the vapor trail is dissipating. I'm like, oh my God, it was like a big deal to see one disappear again. You get so used to seeing them making those lines.
Oh, I know. That was me last summer. I saw that too. I was like, oh, it's real.
It's just a normal one. Yay. So it was.
Yeah, I know, huh?
God. I remember being a kid and watching them dissipate all the time, but now they just stay up there, and it's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, so.
Oh, it's nasty. It's really nasty.
It is. I know.
I know, because I watched. I don't know. It was between spring break or summer break,
Uh-huh.
and they were doing it a lot right when the kids were getting out. And I was just like,
Oh, man.
disgusting. I was so angry.
I know.
And like my husband's like, you're losing it. And I'm like, you may think I'm losing it. Just take a look up, okay? Just watch the sky.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of my poor little love, he had a major spill today. And I was like,
He had a what?
dang, today was kind of rough.
He had a what today?
Yeah, he slipped because of the rain. His
Oh.
shoes were wet, so he slipped. And we have like a step when you come in the house that you have to step down.
Uh-huh.
And he totally banged himself up.
Oh.
I'm wondering about whether or not there's a connection with what I told you yesterday.
It could be.
So
It could very well be.
yeah,
Now, I think
so
if there is, a presence of some kind around, I mean, those kind of things, I mean, people fall, and that's certainly not paranormal. But hold on, I got to blow my nose.
no problem.
Live on the air, I just blew my nose. Woo! That's for all you YouTubers.
No problem. I didn't hear it.
No, I muted myself, so
I
you
was
didn't.
coughing while
I
you
wa-
blew your nose.
It was only visually disgusting. It wasn't auditorily disgusting. But, I guess the primarily what I would suggest is, how does it feel? I mean, what is your intuition telling you?
Last night it freaked the crud out of me, and it may be because it was raining all day, and you get that hearing, and it's cold, and it's just kind of creepy when you go downstairs by yourself.
Yeah.
But I just thought at first it was me because I thought I heard someone walking around, and I'm like, no, everybody's upstairs, snuggled away, doing their own thing. And I was like, no, it's just my head, it's playing with me. And so then I'm like going and preparing soy milk for my husband because he likes that. And I'm preparing it, and I swear I saw a shadow from the corner of my eye going in our it's not quite a living room, but it's kind of like a family sitting room area.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we keep my mom's box or the urn.
Okay.
Even though we got rid of the ashes almost 2 years ago, we kept that bag inside, and there was a few ashes left,
Sure.
So he's wondering, and I'm wondering too, because I didn't get an answer, but could that possibly be something that maybe is acting? Because I remember, Deb, she helped me out, last summer about, and when we had that issue, and so I'm thinking, okay, I haven't really staged in about 3 months. I haven't really, done what I normally do.
Right.
And so that's why I was like, could that be just because of, the weather and that I haven't done I was doing where you do the basil, the garlic, and the salt,
Oh, sure.
I
Yeah.
hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
So I'm like wondering, could that possibly be something? And is there a way to properly maybe take care of that?
Well, the curiosity, and here's the thing with cleansing, you're never really ever going to be done cleansing because we are emotional beings and we always generate emotional energy, and that may draw things in.
Yeah.
You have to saging
Yeah,
is
that
not.
was from my second question. Could our energies do that? Bring it back?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible for sure. But as energetic beings ourselves, I mean, when we cry, when we are angry, when we're happy, all of those things imprint on our environment, and so the saging is just like a weekly kind of thing would be good, just to like level out that energy field and to keep it mellow, but. Is it possible that something was drawn in because of that? Sure, I suppose. That makes sense to me. Did I lose you? Oh, I did. Let me. She dropped off for a second there, but she's back. Hold on a sec. Are you there?
Well, good thing you had that mute.
I lost you there for a second.
Sorry, I dropped you. Yeah, I had an incoming call and I was trying to delete that and it dropped me. And I was like, no.
No, no, it's fine. But did you hear anything I just said?
I did not. I missed
Okay.
it.
Well, I was just saying that as emotional beings, we do like push our emotions into our environment, and as a weekly course of action, saging would be important. Just and for any of us, for all of us. And conversely, sage has been shown to kill bacteria and help to actually cleanse
Yeah.
the environment in a very healthy kind of way.
Disconnessor.
Oh, now we're getting talked to. What does it say? Oh, I don't even know what this word means. Disconocer?
Whoa.
DES
I don't either.
CONOCER. That just came through on the ghost box. Disconocer. I don't know what that word is. So any of you out in the chats can look that up for me. That'd be cool. But that's what the ghost box just said. But if in
Yeah.
the other part is if you're not doing that, if you're allowing that energy to build, could it draw in something that feeds on that energy? And so that's why it's important,
That's what I was wondering.
right? So
Because it's been emotional,
Mhm.
and old stuff is coming back up, and so
Right.
it's causing those old emotions that I thought I was getting over. And that's why I was thinking, is there a connection possibly, or could it be connected with the remnants of the ash that's still in that box?
Well, I think if your mom is still present at all, it's going to be in a protective way. She's of course not going to be trying to shock you or frighten you or anything. And if it feels shocking and frightening, then I don't know that would be her that would be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's what I didn't think.
right. That to me doesn't feel right. Like I mean, our it depends on how you react to the paranormal, I guess. I mean, some people get really
Oh
freaked out with
no,
anything.
like shortly after that, I felt like all my little hairs standing, and I just got this weird tingly feeling, and I was like, okay, am I freaking myself out? Or so I took a moment, kind of, breathed a little, and I was like, all right, whatever it is, if
Right.
you're not here with good intention, you need to leave,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But
Claim your
yeah,
space for sure. Like make a statement that, if you're here for any other reason than to be loving and kind and nurturing and caring for our environment, you're not welcome. Claim your ground, claim your turf. And that was the right way to do it. Now, did it get better after you did that or did it not matter?
then well, that tingly sensation kind of went away.
Good. Okay.
Even though I was still a bit nervous. But when I went upstairs, then it sounded like someone was walking. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if it's just me or,
Sure.
And so I asked, because kids went to sleep and Grandpa was in bed. And when I asked my husband, I'm like, were you walking around upstairs? And maybe I was just catching it, downstairs because our room was above where I was standing. And he was like, nope, I've been laying here watching TV, and I was like, So he's nervous and he wants to actually remove the ashes from the room, or not the ashes, but the urn too.
Okay.
Okay, I hate to say it, but I feel like it's so disrespectful that he wants to put it in the garage in one of our cabinets. And I'm like, to me, that's disrespectful to her.
Sure.
So I'm like, I really don't know how to kind of just seal that off just in case, because we know the actuality about cremation. So
right. There's many ways to safely store objects that may have residual energy within your home. Some people circle them with rock salt, or some kind of sea salt as a small little barrier around the bottom edge of it, or if you could put it up in a display case and sage it and then things like that. Olive oil is believed to be a cleanser as well and a barrier. It kind of depends on what you believe in, but all of those things are valid, and maybe you could try that if you want to keep it in the house.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing pretty regular for a bit, and things seemed to calm down. At one point, because I would say it was somewhere around last summer, Deb said that she sensed that there was a portal that was opened, and I was trying to learn to close it because I've never dealt with that before.
Sure.
And I just kind of wonder, because since I was little, I've always kind of had, a lot of deja vu. I was able to see things and know things before they happen.
Right.
But
You're
then
sensitive.
after I experienced a really scary moment, I was so scared. I said, "Oh, make that go away,"
Yeah.
And so sometimes I wonder that because it's been very emotional, and it has been an incident that's surrounded about my mom's passing. So every time I'm thinking I'm getting better from it, something's come back and kind of hit me full force with it. And so now I'm having to deal with some stuff about it. And so I'm like wondering, is it possibly connected to what happened last summer? And now that I'm getting emotional again, could that be something that just rose that up? Because my husband really thinks it's something to do with the ashes. And I'm like, I'm not so sure, because it felt like last summer a little bit.
Well,
So when I was going through a lot.
Yeah, as I recall, you were questioning a lot about your mom's passing and stuff, and so maybe there's still some things you have to come to terms with there, with that, and try to find some answers if possible, if there's any way you can do that. There's of course Deb. I know she would be happy to help you again, or Diane, or Sean, or any number or all of them. Could I'm sure they would be happy to look into this for you remotely and see what they can tell you. But
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you want me to, I'm sure I know Diane's listening because she's on hold. So
Okay.
we'll ask her when she comes on the line what her take of this is. But definitely watch the chats too, because I think Deb is in here as well. And Sean may very well be too. I haven't seen who's here yet tonight, but yeah, I mean, just keep us posted, because the beauty of the Paranormal Portal is we have a great community of people that are happy to help. So we certainly don't want you to be living in a situation you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, I was just mostly curious, is because, I did shut all that down for a while, and I'm thinking now that I'm trying to be more accepting and learn how to work with it, did I do something like open another portal?
Well, maybe. And the other part of it is that being a sensitive, which you are, whether latent or realized, you're going to be a beacon for things. I mean, that's just the way it works. So you've definitely got to make sure to continue to claim your space and to continue to, like sage and cleanse to push out residual energies and stuff. But I think it's a lot of it's going to be coming to terms with your own abilities is going to be the key for this. But
here's another too, because as me and Deb have spoken about it before, my little one, I think, is very, very strong.
Oh, I believe it.
And she's had some experiences, and so I don't know how to handle her. And she does get angry, and it gets real bad. And it's like, I don't know how to deal with it. And sometimes I wonder, and so one of the things I did say, because I had that sense, I said, no, you cannot be taking over anyone. You need to only be here for good intentions, because I am concerned about that.
How old is?
Oh, she's only 7.
7. Okay, but she's maybe old enough to wear like some kind of charm or something that could be a protective level as well. There's lots of different talismans.
Well, we did give her a tourmaline, and it broke in half. Like shortly after we gave it to her, something happened at school, and it was only maybe the second day she had it, and it broke in half. And I remember going to one of those places that sells some crystals and whatnot, and they're like, wow, what took that blow? And that was around the time that Dad said that she sensed there was a portal in the house. Okay. And so that's why I was just like, holy shit, what are we dealing with? So, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. If they slip through accidentally, it's all right. But no worries. Just stay tuned, because I'm sure that Diane will mention something about this when we get to her call. But thank you so much for calling in.
Okay. Well, you're welcome. It's good talking to you.
It's good talking to you as well. I'm trying. Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Got MCAT is next here. MCAT, I got about a minute before the break, so hang on the line when we hit the break, okay?
All right, sounds good, buddy. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. I love doing the show, but I wish I felt a little better. How you doing?
Yeah. Excuse the noise out here. I'm fueling the truck real quick.
Oh, okay. Where are you at now?
I'm in Indiana. I'm headed home.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's good. So what's on your mind tonight, sir? We're going to go to the break. Hold it. Don't tell me what's on your mind yet. Wait till the break and then tell me.
All right, sounds good.
I'm going to put you back on mute, but I'll get you on the other side, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our break, and we will be right back with MCAT, and then Diane is next on the line, so we'll see what's going on with both of them in just a couple minutes. Don't go away.
Truth Frequency Radio is your...
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. But I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken I am finished with my silence. I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity. Just make sure that you're well fed. Look, I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second hour of our show tonight. This is hour number 2 of the Paranormal Portal. And I'm your host, Brent Thomas, breathing through my mouth, but still breathing, so I got that going for me. And right now we got our good friend, longtime friend of the show, and over-the-road man and paranormal investigator, Mr. MCAT. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Living a dream, my friend.
Well, amen to that. What's on your mind tonight, brother?
Well, thought I'd relate I got 2 stories, but this is one of them about an experience with a demon.
Ooh.
And it's a third person, someone we had on a team that came in contact with one.
Oh, man.
Or at least we've got a pretty good assumption that that's what he was dealing with. So this person was a demonologist. Been in demonology for a long time. He was pretty well versed on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And a case came up in rural Nebraska, and there was another team that was going to investigate it. They had a demonologist, and so he's telling Dan, our founder, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to go tag along. We're going to compare notes." And Dan's like, this doesn't look right to me. I don't think you should go on this. And he says, it'll be fine. So he goes on the investigation. He comes back. He quits the team. He gives up demonology, packs up his bags, and moves to Texas.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was that's the level of effect that it had on him. Wouldn't talk about it. The only thing that he would say was anything that you could imagine happened was happening.
Oh, my God. Wow. So you think he got actually an attachment of some sort?
He didn't say anything about an attachment, but he was really affected by this thing. Whatever this thing was, it really got to him.
Wow. That's like
and according to him, it got to everybody that was there. It was like this was not something to be toyed with.
Yeah, there are some things out there like that. I mean, I know a lot of people are really exuberant about paranormal investigating, but the other side of it is that you're going to bump into something that really wants to wreck everything about you. You know?
Yeah, and that's some people will ask when we're out doing presentations. They'll ask, have you ever come across evil, or do you think that evil is out there? And what we usually say is, evil is out there, but you're probably not going to come in contact with it. You don't have a really high chance of doing it, but it is out there, and it is possible that you run into it. We've discussed this before, that the demon word is overused, in large part thanks to Hollywood.
Right, yeah.
But it is out there, and it's not to be played around with, because it'll do a number on you.
Yeah, no kidding. So even from that other team, you never heard what exactly happened?
None of them would say anything.
Wow. So whatever
They
it
wouldn't
was.
talk about it. It
That's profound.
it was that level of fact where it scared them enough that it's just nope, I don't want to talk about it.
Did they quit as well?
I don't know. I didn't hear if they. I wouldn't be surprised if they had.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you can experience enough, and then you just want to play Cipher, and
Yeah.
that's it. Ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know anymore.
Yeah, I'll bet. And that's the kind of thing you can't unexperience. Once you've experienced it, it's always in there. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. That's the truth.
So what was your second one?
The second one. This was a lady that was in town, and she had called Dan, and all the numbers went to him. He handled the emails and the phone calls that came in, and she was frantic. And there's something in my house. I don't know what it is. It's terrifying. I'm really afraid. You guys need to come out today. And normally we don't do that. Normally there's a process. We have a client interview. We come out and do a walkthrough. We determine if an investigation is warranted.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, I don't have time for that. This is really a bad situation. You guys have to come out here.
Oh, yeah.
So Dan said, okay, I'll see how many people I can get together, and we'll see if we can get out there. So it was like a Wednesday night. We normally investigate on a Saturday because we all have jobs.
Sure.
So everybody goes out to the house. She met the team outside the house.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I'm not going in there. I don't know what the deal is, but there's something in there, and it's really angry, and I'm not going back in the house.
Wow.
And so everybody goes in, they start setting up their gear. And one of the things that we do is the client is part of the investigation. We look at everything that's in. Now, we don't go going through drawers or anything, but anything that's out in the open, we're going to take a look at.
Right.
So we're setting up everything, and then somebody says, she's got a lot of books of the occult in her bookcase. Like, a lot. Okay, all right. And somebody else said, hey, there's this weird table here, and it's got a cloth over it, but it looks like there's things underneath the cloth.
Ooh.
So Dan walks over it, and he pulls the cloth back, and it's an altar.
Oh, okay.
So he goes, okay, all right. So the third thing was she had a detached garage, and she said, don't worry about the garage. And so Dan was like, well, it's on the property. It's something we're going to take a look at. She goes, no, don't worry about the garage. Everything's going on in the house. So he goes out to the garage. He peers through the window, and there's a coffin in the garage.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Okay.
So he calls her up, and he says, you need to tell me what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And she starts playing dumb. What are you talking about? Well, I don't know what's going on. You need to tell me what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And she keeps denying it, and he goes, I got you did the rights. You need to tell me what's up. And so she finally started coming through, and he goes, you're a practicing black witch, aren't you?
Oh.
And so finally we get the truth that, yes, she is, and she was playing around with things that she didn't quite know of and brought something up that she can't control.
Oh, no. What'd you guys do?
Yeah.
Did you guys bail?
Yeah, we referred her to people that are more versed on that subject.
Yeah,
because we're not equipped to handle something like that.
Right. Yeah, that takes a real specialized approach. Wow. So, wow, she was probably trying to get you guys in there so it would get attached to you and she could kick you out.
Oh my God.
You know? I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
You guys were probably bait. She didn't want
Oh
her in
yeah,
the
yeah,
house. Yeah. I'll bet you that was her angle. She was
yeah.
like,
Probably.
oh, man. That's creepy, creepy, creepy. Wow. Well, you guys were smart to walk away. That would have been a mess. Horrible mess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It was a good move. That could have ended badly.
Wow. Excuse me. I don't mean to cough in your ear. Wow. That's amazing, brother. That's amazing.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night.
All
Heal
right.
fast, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Drive safely, brother. Take care.
All right. See you later.
That's awesome. I love MCAT's calls. I mean, I love everybody's calls, don't get me wrong. But I love to hear his investigations and things he's experienced in his investigations. That's really intense. All right, let's get to our next call. This is Miss Diane. You're on the air.
Hey!
Hey.
Hello, I love you, family. Hugs, loves, get better, Brent.
Oh, I'm working on
I
it.
had some this year, and it was horrible. I hope it's not the same stuff, because it took forever to get over that.
Me too, and that's
But,
what everybody's saying. Yeah. I agree.
It's really horrible. You know what? And now I'm seeing, well, it sounds like we got some more work to do, the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian is talking it over with them, and so that's good. I was going to say, I got some pretty good news today. I'm not going to share everything, though. But
Okay.
now, today, this was so funny.
Okay.
I saw a video, and David Wilcock is on there, and he's talking about, oh my gosh, the Kabbalah's going down. It's raining like crazy in California. It hasn't stopped raining.
Oh.
Well, some of you know I sense the rain.
You're drowning them, Diane.
He's saying, and it even snowed. I mean, Sean is the one that requested the snow, so you can blame it all on Sean, my bro.
I saw pictures from Vegas where
And,
that got
yep.
snow in Vegas.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. They're all like, oh my God. And you guys know, it's so funny because you guys know, because I told you I was going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to talk to the cloud people and have them rain, and again, if it didn't do it. And now I told them to rain until the water table is filled up, and so that's what it's going to do.
Oh.
I almost said to Sean, I said, wow, I'm kind of worried about the mudslides and stuff. He says, no, you don't understand, man. We got to keep the rain going because we need the water. It's so low. We grow most of the food in the United States. If we don't have the water, we ain't going to be able to do that.
Right.
So I thought, okay, well, tell them to go on with it.
Yeah.
There has been, I just don't know. Do you think I should tell them or not? I want a poll of the chat room. Do you think I should really tell them what my involvement was? I'm kind of half tempted to tell them.
Well,
But I know that some of them are probably going to think I'm just full of it.
well, we deal with all kinds of different things on the portal, so the wackier the better.
Yeah, the portal is great because it's so free and open. It's like,
Absolutely.
and I know how crazy this sounds, but honestly, there are people who saw my friend, my grandmother Londa. She wasn't my blood grandmother, but grandmother Jane could make it rain. She could get it to rain. She did a ceremony every full moon.
Right.
And we could always count the day after the full moon would be rainy. So
Absolutely.
it's just us taking our power up again. We need really to get people ready to take their power up. And I think that once again, I'm going to do what I can to start to get some. I know Sean has been doing this, but to start to get some instructive stuff online for people on video, or maybe in my blog. I have a blog on WordPress, And if anybody wants that, I'll send you a link. But if you have something, I want to remind you guys all again, if you have a concern, a supernatural concern, Sean and I are here, and Joel will probably come along too if we need him. And we've got a few other people backing us. I mean, Deb is there, and so is we have now Sonia and Zephora and Dawn, who are sort of backup help for us. So, please do get in touch with us. We don't want anybody to suffer unnecessarily. And we want you all to be able to do what you can do, too, to be able to fulfill your potential. Because I think it's really important now that everybody does that.
Right.
Everybody starts to go down their path and fulfill their potential.
Right.
So I'm very proud of all of you who are doing that. Okay?
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not letting you say much. Go ahead.
No. I just was using a moment to look up that word that came through on the spirit box. It was desconocer, and apparently it's a Spanish word, and it means to not know or to disavow. And I was talking to Taz when that was going on, so that's interesting. To disown. Okay, to disown. So I'm just throwing that out there as a segue to that it came up, and I didn't ever get a chance to look at the chat and see if people looked it up, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I was reading that too. Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I installed that. I installed an app on my tablet to see what would come up, because it's supposed to tell you where ghosts are and everything. And it's kind of funny because Sean and I were talking about this. I have my place kind of shut down right now. I'm just so tired of being harassed by things that my place is with a few exceptions, kind of closed off to wandering whatevers, just because of the area I'm in right now. But I am wondering, before I leave here, and I am going to be leaving, I have decided somehow I am going to a climate that doesn't give me so much trouble.
Right. Yeah.
I moved, to a climate that is milder. I have to do that now in order to not be distracted from this work, because I've decided that the work that I'm doing, even though it's not paid, and this is funny because it's not paid work, and to some people that means it's not important. I actually went to my spiritualist church, and there's some of them that I can't even tell about what we do. They just look at me and, are you making some money at that? And it's like, no, we do it for free. Oh, and then they kind of ignore it. Like, oh, well, good luck, and they just kind of brush it off. It's like, are you telling me that because we don't charge, it's not important? I think it's kind of important. I mean, people have such a relationship between money and what you do that it's not worth anything if you're not charging. It's true. But I mean, that's kind of rude. I mean, and these are people in a spiritualist church. You would think that they would have a little bit more sense, but only a couple of them are on the level that I can actually even mention it, and they know what I'm talking about, because to them, dealing with spirits is just, Uncle Ned is coming through for you, and he says you're going to have a good year, or, don't drive too fast or whatever. That's all some of them know about it.
Sure.
About talking to spirits, that kind of thing. So, it's like, I know that you guys know, but feel more, you guys know a lot more than most people, honestly. I am so proud of this group that we have, that is actually educating themselves on whatever they can get a hold of. Because, there are a lot of people that won't bother to educate themselves.
No, you're right. You're right.
So, and there are a lot of people that are afraid. There are a lot of people that are afraid. I think we've got to, fight the fear. As fearful as I am in some ways. I mean, I'm trying to throw aside all my trepidation of letting people know that I do this, because we live in an area that's not just, doesn't just have dark things in it. It also has the religious groups that will give you as much trouble because they are kind of hidebound in their own beliefs, and some of them believe that if you are what they call a necromancer, you must be evil.
Right. Yeah. No, but you're right. Fear.
Even though you're healthy.
Fear is crippling, and to live in fear is it's horrible. Of course, I think everybody's experienced a period of life where they've lived in fear, but I think until you claim your power, you'll never be free.
I know. Well, before, every time I pop my head up, I get shot at. Seriously,
Sure.
I would have something dreadful happen to me that would keep me off balance. But see, I'm not alone anymore.
No.
And I think this was part of it. And Sean keeps saying, why did I have to come along for all this to start? It's like, well, we were all doing these things like him and Joel. At least they had each other. Me and Paul doesn't really come along with me on these things. He's just more of a MASH unit for when I get myself all beat up and need healing, which I frequently do. I'm lucky I don't feel it until afterwards, though. I don't really feel it until after it's over.
Sure.
Sean kind of gets to feel it in the moment. But, honestly, I think they want us to all be separate, alone, and fearful to come forward. Because when we do that, we're weak. Separately, we're weak. When we band together, we're very strong. And I've got to remind people of this. That magic number of 144 that you hear about all the time, that magical occult number?
Sure.
Well, I told you how power ramps up exponentially the more people you add. 12 times 12 equals 144.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the number of time covens.
The number of what?
Obviously.
You kind of cut out there. The number of what?
Yeah. 12 people in a coven used to be standard.
Okay.
That would equal the power of 144.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Now it makes sense why there were 12. See? It was one of those magical numbers. And, some people just thought, and they tried to say this was, because there were 12 apostles and they were just trying to be anti-Christ or something. It's like, no. It's because that is a magical number, and that is probably the reason why you hear the stories about Jesus having 12 disciples.
Right.
Is because that adds up to 144 power-wise.
We've got we got another guest that wants to join our call. Do you mind?
No, it's probably Sean. Is it Sean, my bro?
It could be.
It is.
Hello, bro.
Hello.
Look, I ain't doing this alone anymore. You are coming along, or I ain't going.
Right. I just made the suggestion so that if he wanted to ask about the stuff that happened, it would be some interesting telling now we're both here.
Yeah.
You didn't get a chance to tell about Diana's issue.
Oh, yeah. Do you want us to do that now, Brent?
We got about a minute before the break, so why don't you hold that part until we get back? But yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to hear both of you put that together. That'd be a great experience for the audience as well to hear what you guys have done and what you experienced. So, but we got like a minute, so you can talk for a minute.
That's too bad Joel's not here. Well, I'm pretty sure Joel would want to be here, but he doesn't mind me filling in his parts.
Sure.
Usually.
Yeah.
That's true.
Joe usually lets you do most of the talking anyway, so he's probably just
I know.
fine.
Don't rub it in. It makes me feel guilty.
Don't feel guilty. It's just the way some people are. That's his way.
Every group needs a spokesman, Sean.
Yeah, that's just his way. We are people who can go out there and talk. Not everybody's like that.
Right.
It's another gift.
Very true.
Gift to gab.
The word desconocer means to not be recognized. The non-literal translation is I don't know. I've spoken Spanish my whole life, so I was curious. What was the context of that?
I don't know. It just came through the ghost box when I was talking to Taz, which is weird because it's never said Spanish words before. But we're going to go to the break, guys, so we'll be right back after these messages for the last half hour of the show. Don't go away. It's going to get good. It's already good, I hope, but it's going to stay good. So we'll be right back.
The reviews for
welcome back to the Paranormal Portal's last half hour, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still your host, Brent Thomas. I'm still trying to guide this ship through the portal and return you safely to your place of residence. But thank you for joining us tonight, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. And right now, we are joined by both Diane and Sean, who are longtime friends of the show and have been using their psychic gifts to help many listeners who have had lots of trouble with paranormal occurrences of their own. So welcome back, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, let me turn it up a little bit. I turned it down a little bit over the break. There you go.
Yeah. Let it just take over your call line for a few minutes here.
Oh, it's great. It's less talking I got to do. I'm okay with it.
Okay, so I think we probably should go back to what happened with Diana. She gave us permission to talk about that, so that's a good story.
Okay.
And Diana
that's
is
to lead
back
in on
now,
the other one.
so she can kibitz from the side if we miss anything.
Right.
Sure.
So basically, she got in touch with me, and we were talking on Facebook about it. And I, and it wasn't really, she wasn't talking about having a problem there. She was talking about at another place. But what I saw when I looked at the pictures, I liked the pictures. I was saying, well, it's nice country and everything. She goes, no, that was the haunted place. So I said, well, let me look. And, but what I saw was not the old place. I saw their current place. Mm-hmm. Because I was saying, wait a minute, there's like I'm seeing something. I'm seeing like a shadow person and something that looks like a black beam. Now, this later on turned to be something else, not a beam. But, and Sean knows what. Well, we'll go into that. But, so I'm saying, and yeah, you got two old people in there, a male and a female, and this black shadow. And she goes, my daughter was talking about shadow people. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, and she was saying, yeah, a man and a woman. That's what I guess her father was talking about. Mm-hmm. So he was being harassed, and her children were being harassed, and her guinea pigs had, I found out that her guinea pigs had been reacting to something, and then they just died out of the blue, mm-hmm. of no reason. Now, I can tell you from having guinea pigs, they are predator bait. They're prey animals, and they're very sensitive to predators. They're very sensitive to supernatural. Ours would go off all the time if there was anything around.
Okay.
They would start their jabbering. So guys, if you want to know if something's there, have a little animal of some kind that will react like that, and you'll know for sure something bad is around because they'll start reacting. Don't ignore it, okay? So she said, well, I'm going to frankincense it, and that should be, I said, do you want me to handle it? She said, well, I'm going to frankincense it, and I said, well, okay, because I don't want to disempower anybody.
Sure.
By, by coming right in and saying, well, I want to handle it. I want to give people a chance if they have any ability whatsoever to, try handling it themselves. I said, look, we're here to help, to be the backup, Well, I couldn't be gotten a hold of after she did the frankincense. I guess things got worse. Mm-hmm. And at least that's the way that I'm hearing it. And she contacted
Well, from
Sean
what I could tell, it got mad because the frankincense cut off its ability to be able to, with the air purified, it couldn't draw in energy from the rest of the people in the house. You literally cut off its food supply, and you do that with a predator, and it gets more than a little cranky.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Okay.
They died on Christmas. That's another interesting. Actually, Diana just said they died. The guineas died on Christmas. Mm. See, ours died mysteriously too.
Yeah,
we had that happen. So
Lady Death said she had a guinea pig that died as well. So that's pretty wild that they seem to be really susceptible to that, huh?
Yes. I mean, they can actually... Well, see, if it's a parasite that feeds on fear, prey animals get very excited and fearful.
Yeah.
It would be like, hors d'oeuvres. Hey, hors d'oeuvres, look. Sorry to say.
No, that's accurate.
From there... You know, not from our point of view. From our point of view, it was like fluffy. But no, from their point of view, that was just appetizers.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they would have whittled it down. The next weakest, the next weakest, the next weakest. That's what a predator, they kind of wear you down until, you know, the easiest that they can get first. So, that's just the way they work. So she'd already showed me some pictures of the new place, and I said, I need to see some more of under those steps. It's under those steps that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that. She said, okay, I'm going to have to look at that. And that is really where her daughter's room was. And you know, her daughter was afraid to go to sleep in her room. So when Sean came in, I guess he saw the same thing in the same place, except in a little different way, because Sean reacts a little differently than I do. I have do have a little bit more of a shell. And Sean, I'm going to just let Sean tell you how he reacted to those pictures.
Okay.
Well, I didn't even expect her to be sending me the pictures. What happened was, she said, "Well, I'm telling her what the possibilities are and what the danger could be." And then the next thing I know, a picture pops up, and all of a sudden it's like wham, and it's like, you remember the scene where Neo, he's starting to get all that stuff downloaded into his head, and he's like, I know Kung Fu. Well, imagine that with, I've just seen a horror movie. And because now I'm seeing what it is that's running around inside there. And she keeps sending me pictures, and one after another, like, and it just didn't stop. 3 pictures later, I'm panting and not looking at the monitor, because I'm thinking, if I see one more of these before I'm ready, my ears are never going to stop ringing. And I'm like, I got to get Diane. Because this is not something that you want to leave playing anymore, because it's not serious for us, but this thing is feeding, and it's got to go, because if it has this much energy to leave that deep of an imprint down there on just 40 pixel pictures on me, no.
Let me tell you really quickly why she did that, though, is she didn't know that it was going to affect you like that, because I just popped in there, looked around, and you know how I am. I'm just like, I'm there, and, you know, if something else is there, I don't get worried about it until later. I have absolutely, you have an entirely different, you get really, really affected by things. So
I'm raw, because I got my vision back. I just got my vision back after removing those cataracts, so I don't have any stopper anymore.
Yeah,
I think most of the time I just relied on the cataracts to be the interference.
I can put up, but Sean doesn't have them, see? But Diana didn't know that, because I'd already popped in and looked around, and she was kind of amused by that. I was like, oh, wow, pop in again sometime. Too bad you can't pop in and have tea with me or something, you know? So, but anyway, that's why that happened, Sean, and I'm sorry, but, you know, it's like, I guess not everybody's not going to understand that. But anyway, so he calls me in, and I'm like, oh, no, we got problems again, because he had been handling some life stuff that I'd been working on. And it's like, yes, and he told me, it's like, and we both saw the same thing, portal under the stairs, okay? And so I decided, yeah, we're both on the same track. And the black thing turned out to be the not a beam, but actually a cord, and we'll go into that as the story progresses. Okay. So, Sean, tell them what happened after that.
Well, just so you know, we both just so you guys know, we got like 16 minutes left of the show, so.
Okay, so we both phased into the place. I couldn't see her at all, because I'm used to working with Joel. I couldn't see her, and we were discussing things over the phone, and she says, well, I'm going to go close the portal, but she was already in motion. I knew this because all of a sudden it was like I was swept along like a wave, catching you unawares on the shore, and she swept me in, and I'm seeing things through her point of view. And I'm looking right at what she's doing, which is immediately she's trying to close the portal. And there's this thing coming through it that's hanging there like a black intestine just laying on the ground. And I realized these aren't my hands. I'm seeing through her eyes, and she's trying to smash this thing shut by irising the portal closed, and it just keeps bouncing off. And then she tells me a few seconds later that it's bouncing open. So I said, yeah, I can see that. Couldn't make the point of view change because I'm seeing through her eyes. And that's when I realized that she's not paying attention to the rest of the room. She's expecting me to do that. I pop out, and the thing that was trying to stay hidden was moving around to a position where it could strike her from near the sofa. So I swept him up and grabbed it. And as I did so, some of the covering came away. It was like it was mechanically covering itself in darkness. And we later decided to call it a kobold with better armor class, using the D&D terms on it. The darn thing was chewing on my thumbs, fighting and scratching.
Right. What I had seen independently was when I first got there, I had seen this little, I'm there, I'm looking at it, it's like this scaly thing with this armor that could bend light around it. That's one of the shadow effects. It could look like what it wanted to look like. The other thing is it was dark because it was sucking energy. Now, when you see shadow people, I've decided probably why they look like shadows is because they're sucking energy. That's why they're blacker than the shadows around. The dark is dark, but they're darker because they're sucking up all the light and energy and everything. But anyway, so that beam, that black beam, wasn't a beam. It was this, he called it an intestine. I said, no, it's more like an umbilical cord, I hate to tell you. A nasty one, a like negative version. This thing was probably using it both to stick the portal open and like some kind of support system, because it obviously didn't come from here.
Right.
So go on, Sean.
Well, after I dropped the thing. Well, I asked Ariel to give me a portal to someplace where I could dispose of the thing, and she took me someplace that was like I was flying over Jupiter. It was ice cold, clouds beneath me, froze me to the marrow of my bones. I didn't even associate why she would recommend such a place, but the thing's a lizard, so obviously, cold, torpid immediately. I let it go, and it felt like a brick, and came back, and then Diane said, well, what should we do with this? Let's cut it off. I said, no, let's pull and see what comes out. Just out of sheer curiosity. Right up like, so I pull on the thing, and this thing comes out that looked like a very black liver or something. It was gross, and it was just
more like a placenta, a negative one. That's
disgusting.
The impression.
It was, and it hit the ground with a splat, like somebody threw a raw meat on the ground.
Right, and you guys
now
are
you got to understand.
Very gnarly.
We do this. It sometimes is very gross and emotional.
Right.
And the smell that came off it was absolutely horrifying. I could smell it.
So you're getting all this psychic. You guys are getting all this psychically. Just to explain this, in case anybody's kind of wondering what we're talking about, they are projecting.
Oh yes, that's
projecting into a Diana's home to help her with a portal that was open, and this is what they're seeing through their psychic vision. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. I locate both of us. I guess it's not that typical that you can both there are people who can remote view. There are people who can do what we do in person. Not everybody can bilocate and be there and do this. I guess that's one of the big differences that we've got. Okay? So we are actually sending our astral double or something there, I guess. I don't know. What would you say, Sean? How are we doing that, Sean?
Well, Joel and I actually came up with how to do it. You're apparently doing it without figuring it out. You create a separate body, another one, separate from your astral body that you inhabit, sort of like a drone. It does everything that a body will do, but it's more force than than being an astral body. That's the reason why to other people we look like little dots floating around like orbs. If we go there in the astral, we'll look like ourselves. If we go there like this, unless we try, you can't really see us as we are. And that's something that Joel and I could do.
I don't even know how.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
So
how
what
I'm
happened
doing.
after that? So after that, we needed to clear this thing out. So I figured the best way was going to be just to use light element, the fire, and burn it out. And as I'm burning the thing out, Diane says, "I can feel that from here, Sean." I'm like, "Well, then keep your head down."
I could. Boy, that was the most evilest smelling barbecue I ever smelled.
I fortunately didn't smell anything after my sinuses were so shocked from the original smell. I could, when it was gone, it was just relief. It was vile. And when Diana's child came home, she said, "Oh, it feels completely clear in here." Yep. Because Dee moved she says, "Well, let me go and move the other ones on," and she moved them. She gently said, "It's time to go." She opened the door and sort of escorted them through with her hand gently on their back. "It's time to go," and moved the other two spirits that were being wrangled by that thing.
Oh, that's cool.
He had been using them as a sort of a backup battery.
Okay, gotcha.
Earthbounds, they don't know. Sometimes they don't know any better. They can get trapped by things like that. And they were sort of, I don't know how he managed to do it, but I don't know why they felt they had to stay. I didn't ask them. We didn't have time to go into that. Sometimes I will ask them what their story is, but I didn't have time to do that because we had to just act, you know?
Sure, right.
And
in a situation where you've got children and the elderly in it, with children and the elderly, there's no playing around. If there's danger involved, it's got to stop, because it's like saying, well, it's okay to have this much radon gas in the environment. I mean, it's not immediately lethal. So my first thought is, screw that. We're coming to the rescue. It's done.
Right.
Right. You don't want to play with that. It honestly, I'm telling you all out there, if you've got children or older people involved, please get in touch with us. We work free. We'll gladly accept donations, but we work free. Now, how can you get a better deal than that?
That's a pretty good deal.
The thing that MCAT was talking about.
Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to bring this up real quick. The thing that MCAT was talking about with the lady who had the altar in her house and she was doing things she ought not to.
Yeah.
It seemed to me what she was trying to do, by the sound of it, was she was trying to get them to come in and fix the problem that she created because she didn't know how to undo what she'd done. There's people like us who do the good things, and then there's people like that who do the stupid things. And there is an unfortunate reality that we joke about. There is no safe way to be stupid, especially with abilities like these. And when they do something like they fill the environment, you need someone like us to be riding shotgun, because you don't know how many of these things are figuring out, or like we joked about this on the show.
Calling your friends.
Yeah. There's people that okay, I can't mention the show. When a guy goes on a show and he's saying, I can feel the anger in this room, and I'm watching the show, and he doesn't realize that there's a guy with a 6-gun on his hip, Ghost, smoking a cigar with a handlebar mustache, looking at him like how he's gonna, the same kind of look that you or I would give a turkey as we're sharpening a knife about to cut it open for Thanksgiving dinner.
Sure.
And you don't know what's going to happen afterwards, because these things, they can do a lot of damage.
Yes.
And if you need our help, we definitely stand ready to help. We may not be able to get to you by driving there, but if you need help, you give us a Google Map picture, and I can be there in seconds, and I can make sure that these things don't chase you down. So can Diane. So can Joel.
Hello, folks. All we need is a picture. Hey, I can even do it just talking to you on the phone sometimes. One of my gigs, I just did it by talking to somebody on the phone. So don't hesitate, okay?
Yeah,
we don't want to see any of you go through this.
Yeah, then there's people asking how to get a hold of you guys. Well, you guys can just email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, and I can certainly make the connection. Otherwise, you can check out Sean's channel at Ian's Magic Oak. That's his channel. That's also his chat name in the YouTube chat. You can reach him through that. But I'm happy to help you make the connections if anybody out there needs it. Yep. And Diane, how do people?
Oh, and I'm Diana Singer with one N on Facebook. I also have now Paranormal Protectors on Facebook,
cool.
Investigation and Removal, and Sean has Magic Oak Paranormal
Investigation and Elimination.
And
I took that
link
directly from
that
Ghostbusters.
I tell you on my thing to go to his if you can't get a hold of me.
Sure.
Right away.
You'll be able to reach a team that's still growing. We're what, 6 of us now, and rising. Plus we have Deb on tap when necessary.
Yeah, we don't all have the same skills. Like, not everybody can do the by location thing like we can do. That seems to be mostly Sean and me and Joel. It seemed to be able to do that.
It's a fairly rare thing. We've been doing it for about 30 years.
Gotcha.
So it's not something that we couldn't teach, but it's not something that you can learn in a couple of days. In fact, the first step is astral projection, and then the next steps after that is figuring out how not to astrally project, and then instead use a different medium. It's funny because the way that I learned how to do it was watching a movie. There was a movie on the Bermuda Triangle, and a psychic, in order to go to the bottom of the ocean, which I thought was kind of silly, he said he had to create a separate body, and he would create one that would allow him to be able to get down there. And years later, when Joel and I were talking about how messed up, banged up we'd been from actually projecting in our sleep, we were like, I said, I remember this movie. Maybe this kind of thing would work. And sure enough, after about maybe a week's practice, it became second nature. Instead of actually stepping out of our bodies, we just sent our minds in the created energy shell. Worked out much better anyway.
Gosh, I thought of something I have to mention. I'm sorry, brother, but I must interrupt just for a moment because this is important. I think that this is exactly what this phenomena of orbs might be, and I mean the good kind. People are seeing these little orbs. When they take pictures, they see people in them sometimes even animals. What if that's somebody in there familiar, traveling like we do? Because these things are considered to be interdimensional and protective, the ones that I'm talking about. What if it is people like us, maybe from some other place, some other dimension, that's doing the same thing we are, Sean? Because maybe we just got to face, we are interdimensionals, perhaps. Maybe that's why we can do all this.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's really what we're doing.
Sorry. I don't mean to be all gross in the microphone here, but we're down to about 2 minutes, guys. But thank you guys for calling in and being a part of the show. I really appreciate you guys sharing your experience and your story and helping us understand your process. And I really appreciate you guys being there for people that need you guys. That's so amazing to me.
I love you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for the time, Brent. Thank you for the format.
Oh, anytime, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Good night, you both of you. I don't know how to say that better than that right now. I'm lucky I can even say anything, but I just want to thank you all, of course, for being here tonight and helping and participating with me to help me get through the show. Again, tomorrow night we got Kevin Lang coming on the portal, and he is, of course, a gentleman who had basically rescued a young Sasquatch as he was a teenager hunting, and just has had an amazing series of events that surrounded that whole process, and it's just a really beautiful story. And I hope you guys tune in tomorrow to get a little bit of that. But if you want to check out what the backstory on that is, go over to World Bigfoot Radio, and you can find that on YouTube by looking for Brian Sullivan channel. And you can read or you can listen to the several part story that Duke recorded with Kevin to tell and share his story. And you can also check out Kevin Lang's Glagland, Glaggland, on YouTube as well. But if you're on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, or TalkStream Live listening to us, stick around because Nikki Colombo's coming up next. And she's got a guest on her show that was Contactee as well. And it should be an epic journey and a really cool show. So definitely tune in for that. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm not meaning to be a whiner. Honestly, I usually just sit quietly when I'm not feeling well. But the show must go on. So, but I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and thank you, Tori, again for your donation. That was really cool. It means the world. It really helps out a ton. And again, I'll be back tomorrow night for more of the Paranormal Portal with Don here to help me through the evening. But I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care. Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow.